How's it going, guys? Figured I'd make you a little quick video while we're doing this. Tinting the tail lights and the marker lights on the 79 F250 Elliott truck that I'm building here. So I figured I'd give you a quick demonstration on how to do it. There's all kinds of different ways, all kinds of different items you can use. This is Rust-Oleum lens tint. It works really well. It stays on for years. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just all in applying it. It needs to be applied properly, and it needs to be applied evenly. So if you do one light a little more than the other, it's going to have different depth to it. It's going to be the darkness to it isn't going to match. So you got to really pay attention. And when you're spraying across or whatever, you got to use the same amount of strokes. So everything should be done in one shot, like we have here. We have the tail lights, the rear marker lights, and the front marker lights. They're all going to be done at the same time with the same amount of even coats over every piece at every time. We taped off the reverse light in the tail lights, so we'll leave that clear, and we just basically taped off the edges on the rear tail lights. It really doesn't matter. Once they're in pretty deep into the truck, and you'll never see anything, so any little bit of overspray is perfectly fine. So these are brand new tail lights, and these are all Ford factory marker lights that are in good shape. You don't want to have any cracks in it, and you know, you want to do this all at the same time. You don't want any cracks or stress cracks or anything in the light, because you'll see it, and then when you go to try to recoat one light as you replaced it, it's just not going to be the same. So you kind of want to do this all in one shot, all the lights you're going to do. You pick whatever you want. There's many brands out there. You pick whatever brand tint you want, and you obviously shake up the can. I already taped everything off. I already cleaned everything. Pretty much from this point forward, we're going to show you the coats going on, and then we'll show you a couple little tricks. All right, obviously you got your Rust-Oleum here. The can that we're using, simple spray. You want light coats. You shake up the can really well. Obviously you want, you know, decent temperature. I don't know. All the directions are on the back of the can. You guys know how to read directions. You shake it up really well. Spray a little bit out first. Shake it a little more. But what I like to do is I like to start from one area, go across all the lights, and we'll give everything one light, very light coat. Let the light coat just slightly stick to the lights and let it tack up. That's pretty much it. You're not trying to coat everything in one shot. So you just go completely over, work your way up the light, and spray everything all in one shot. The reason these are spaced out is because you obviously want to get enough around onto the sides. You don't want to stack these too close together and then try to spray like this. You want nice even coats. So you just pull with your finger and you come all the way across. It's like if you were painting with a gun on a car. You want to come all the way across, and then you want your pattern to just slightly be in the wet area. So your spray pattern will probably be about as wide as my fingers. So you'll come across and do the bottom 3 inches, come up and slightly stay in the pattern again and keep going. Now it's pretty important that you don't get crazy, because this is tint. Now, if you do a bunch of different lines on top of each other, these lines here are going to be darker, lighter, darker, lighter. You're going to have tiger stripes in your pieces. You want everything even at all times. The first coat's a little tougher because it's not as dark, but once you get a couple of coats on, I don't know, the amount of coats is going to determine how dark you want to go. So, light coats, evenly across. So now you pretty much have one neutral coat on it all the way around. And then that's pretty much, give it a second to tack up, and then you're going to pretty much come across and do the same thing. Now, with your first time you spray, hold the can pretty far back. You're not trying to get too close. The closer you go with these cans, the tighter you're going to get the overlap spray, and it's going to become tiger striped. You just want to mist this on. That's all you want to do is mist it on. Obviously, in the camera, it's going to look weird because you're going to have wet and dry spots going across. But in person, when you're doing this, you just want, stay far away. You want to mist it on evenly and go across. Start from one area, try to get the outsides all in one shot. Then you can come back later once you have the faces done, and you can touch up the edges if you want by not spraying the faces. It's kind of like a go and learn. It's a procedure that you kind of figure out after a while, but so you could start here, roll up, roll back down. So that's basically your first light coat you have on everything. Now I can still see the red pretty good. I can still see through pretty nice. Everything looks decent. You want to give it a second, let it tack up. And then you'll come across. Now right now, because there's more depth on the sides, you can actually touch those up. If you spray the sides of the lights, you don't want to spray anything on top of the light. You just want to basically be shooting the can down onto the cardboard and coming around and just letting the mist touch the edge of those lights. Same thing on the backs. You don't want to be spraying onto the lens. You just want to be spraying the edge. So you're spraying right below the edge and you're just letting the top of the mist hit the red. Beautiful. That's it. Do the same thing all the way around. You could do the same thing with the small lights, which you really kind of don't really need to do because they're so small they're already getting even coverage. So that's what we just did. We went around and we sprayed all the edges. You don't spray. You're not focusing like you're spraying a piece of metal. You're not trying to use this stuff to spray real hard because you will just destroy it. You want to lightly make a coat all the way around. Like I just said, when you're trying to hit the edges, spray down here and let the mist just hit it. Because you want to go light. Keep it as light as possible. Every coat on it you want to do light, and you just want to eventually pick a stage. I just want a slight tint on these. I don't want them dark. I don't want to black them out. I just want to tint them. So that's all we're going to end up doing is just slight tint on this. So that's what we end up doing here is we are just lightly coating each level, one layer at a time until we get to where we want to be. If you want to go dark, you don't just spray this. No matter, I keep stressing this over and over. You can't just spray this like spray paint. That's not how this works. Once you have this on the lights, you can't clean them off. You can't use lacquer thinner and clean them off. I mean, I guess you could try to wet sand them down into the plastics all the way back down to where it was, but it's going to be dull now, and you're coming across and you're trying to fill scratches. You want to do this right the first time. So if you got some extra lights, maybe you want to practice on those. You just don't want to go too dark either, because when these things are just lightly, well, I guess that's completely up to what your choice is, but when these are just lightly coated, they look beautiful because they're just slightly tinted. If you're trying to black your lights out, that's a different story. That's not what I'm trying to do here. So now let's apply another light coat. Now that I went from side to side, I'm going to go across, light coats. So here's a practice one over here, and if that's what you need to do, spray a practice one onto the cardboard so you can see where it's laying. Now I can see that that's spraying too thick, so you pull back. Keep it about 18 inches, 16, 18 inches, and give it a light coat. Let it tack up. Go to the other side. Do the same thing coming across the other side. We're just getting to where we want to be now. We don't want too much. Now, because we came from one side, went all the way to the other side, we are evenly putting it on. One side of light this way, then we come back, we did it this way. So first we went up and down, then we went side to side. Now you need to start this might be as far as you want to go at this point. Tough to see. That might be as far as you want to go, depending on the light. And then once the light's obviously on this behind it, this looks a lot darker on this camera. It's really not. Yeah, see, when the camera moves around and the light hits it, you can see on the edge of the lights how red they are. So you can see that the lights are still pretty red. They're not black at all. It's just the camera that you're not getting a good, see, you see it right there. Very nice. Still red. You can see that it's red, but it just has a light coat on it. All right, guys. So here we are with our final product. Tinted lights in our 79 F250 using the Rust-Oleum spray tint with about 4 light coats. I know it looks a lot darker. It looks black. That's because I've said it in the video throughout. It's the fluorescent lighting and so on, making it look a lot darker, but there it is actually red in person. So this will be determined by how many coats you put on yours. This is 4 light coats. So outside in the sunlight, this would be a lot brighter red than what you can see in here under the fluorescence. Now, I stress over and over, you might want to practice. The taillight, some of these taillights like this one here is not a smooth taillight. It obviously has you know, a design, a course into it. So if you screw these taillights up, you cannot sand this back out and you will have to replace your taillights. So, pay attention to the video, pay attention to the coats, keep your distance apart and so on, and you will come out with a very nice product. This can be used on any vehicle, any car lights, any combination. We left our reverse light clear for a clean look. You could tint over the reverse light as well, whatever you want to do. And, you know, it's completely up to you or what the final product's going to come out like. Pay attention to what you're doing, keep your distance, go very light coats, probably... I probably only used a quarter of that can for all 4 of these lights and 2 front marker lights. So maybe get a piece of glass or something and start spraying on the glass for practice. You just don't want to throw away your taillights. But guys, I hope you learned something. I've got some little tricks, some tips. This is our 79 Elliott. And we are going to have more videos coming up soon of this project here. So guys, like and share. Thank you for watching. McNastyCustomz.com.